Treasury Tim Geithners' complete lack of oversight and total mismanagement of American International Group's AIG distribution of millions in bonus payments following the company's $180 billion taxpayer bailout. Just think about this. U.S. taxpayers own 80% of AIG, and AIG is using taxpayer money to pay themselves huge bonuses. Let's examine Mr. Geithner's role as Secretary of the Treasury and his role with AIG. Mr. Geithner, as we will recall, was President of the Federal Reserve of New York prior to becoming Secretary of Treasury in January of this year. Interestingly enough, on September 29, 2008, during Mr. Geithner's time as President, AIG officials briefed a senior vice president at the New York Fed about the details of AIG's deferred compensation plan, its bonuses and retention payments for its financial group's product. AIG emailed the New York Fed official copies of its compensation plans. Mr. Geithner was president of the New York Fed at the time the bank knew about the bonuses, and yet he maintains, quote, that he was not appraised of the specifics. Please, Mr. Secretary, just admit you knew about the bonuses and you're just trying to protect your friends on Wall Street at taxpayers' expense. Now let's fast forward to March of this year. Mr. Geithner is now Secretary of the Treasury, and the news breaks to the American people about AIG, the company that's too big to fail, remember that they need $180 billion in taxpayer bailout. They'd be distributing about $165 million in retention payments to employees of its financial products subsidiary. Now, this unit, remind everybody, this unit, of course, is the same entity responsible for writing the credit default swap policies that contributed directly to the company's near collapse. Yet again, we have Secretary Geithner claiming that he only found out about the AIG bonuses on March 10, 2009, just 3 days before they were paid. Please, Mr. Secretary, if a company is in bankruptcy, you don't give out bonuses. Given that sources at the Federal Reserve have stated, quote, Treasury staff was informed that the March 15 bonus payment dates was upcoming, surely, Mr. Secretary, as head of the U.S. Department of Treasury, you must have known about the payments. It's even harder to believe that in light of the Special Inspector General's report, which notes, quote, Federal Reserve Board of New York officials email the Treasury's internal counsel, legal counsel, the amount and timing of the AIG Financial Product Retention Award plan, so even his legal counsel knew about it. Mr. Speaker, everybody at the Federal Reserve knew about the AIG bonus issue, and officials at the Treasury surely knew. Yet somehow, the head of our Treasury Department and former head of the New York Fed at the time of the AIG bailout said he was completely in the dark. Please, Mr. Secretary, just admit you knew all about the bonuses. Mr. Barofsky's audit concludes, quote, this, coupled with Treasury's subsequent limited communication with the Federal Reserve Board of New York with respect to executive compensation, has meant that the Secretary, the Treasury, invested $40 billion of taxpayers' fund in AIG, designed AIG's contractual executive compensation restrictions, and helped manage the government's majority stake in AIG for several months, all without having any detailed information about the scope of AIG's very substantial and very controversial executive compensation obligations? Please, Mr. Secretary. It should also be noted that the former Secretary Paulson was also complicit in the AIG bonus mismanagement. It was under Mr. Paulson's watch, after all, that the government acquired this huge stake in AIG in the first place. And it was Mr. Paulson's decision to bail out AIG, which happened to owe billions to Goldman Sachs, while subsequently letting Goldman Sachs' main competitor, Lehman Brothers, fail. The American people were rightly outraged when they found out that AIG would be paying out millions in bonuses despite needing $180 billion taxpayer bailout. But it doesn't stop there. The audit also revealed that even kitchen assistants and elevator operators got bonuses over $7,000. So clearly not all of the AIG bonuses were contractually obligated, as the company's executives claim. The headaches just keep coming. This is what happens when high-ranking government officials such as Mr. Paulson and Mr. Geithner have clear conflict of interest and are trusted to manage billions in taxpayers' money. Mr. Paulson and Mr. Geithner's close ties to Wall Street are just too close for comfort for the American people and their tax dollars.